What permits do I need to sell at a farmer's market? And do you even need a license to sell at local farmer's market? Well, in this video from Marketing Food Online, we're going to dive into 10 permits and licenses that you will potentially need to have in order for you to get your farmer's market business up and running and lucratively profitable. So we're going to dive into those 10 right now. All right, so welcome back to Marketing Food Online. So in this video, as I mentioned in the introduction, we're going to dive into 10 permits that you will potentially need to have in order for you to sell at local farmers markets. Now, we say potentially because permit requirements vary, of course, from state to state and city to city, and even from farmers market to farmers market. So therefore, when you're asking yourself and you're checking into what licenses do I need to sell at farmers markets, the answer isn't a one-size-fits-all. Do your research, contact local authorities, or consult with market managers, those that are operating those farmers markets in your region. You need to also understand what's needed specifically for you and what you're selling, because different types of food products offer also different type of permitting depending upon what it is. Now, when it comes to the nitty-gritty of permit applications, patience is a virtue. Trust me. I've experienced this when we first launched our business. We were doing local farmers markets and local events, and it became quite tedious and often involves filling out forms, paying fees, and awaiting inspections or approvals. Now, once obtained, display your permits proudly in your stall, reassuring customers of your legitimacy and dedication to food safety and satisfaction of their customers. Remember, farmers market licenses are not just some bureaucratic hoops to jump through. They're great safeguards for the public health and assurances that the product quality and the vehicles of transparency are in trust in the marketplace for you to sell. So let's dive into this 10. I'm going to go now from number 10 down to number 1. So you want to stick with us for the next about 10 or 15 minutes. I want to go through each one of them down to the most important one, which will be the last one. First of all, number 10, specialty permits. So selling any types of meats, cheeses, fish, or spirits, even in some cases, these often require specialized permits ensuring the safe handling of these specific food products. And believe it or not, yes, in some states, in some cases, depending on where you're making it, selling local meats or cured meats or jerkies, meat jerkies or cheeses, those types of products, you can do that. But you do have to have certain specific permits and licenses, of course, to do it and get away with that. Number 9, if you're selling organic, this is really, really crucial. Organic certification. So if you're claiming your products are organic, you may actually need to prove it. This certification requires meeting specific standards and can be a compelling selling point and also help sell a lot more of your produce if they are purely 100% organic. Now, from my own experience and research, and I've done a lot of consults over the years, many of my customers who are looking to create organic food products, the FDA requires a certification from a third-party company. Now, it is a tedious, very, very involved, and trust me, and actually quite expensive process. It's actually not cheap, and it doesn't take a couple of days to do. It's quite tedious. But if you do want to go through that process of getting the ability to put that organic label on your products and being certified, you definitely can, especially if you've got a farm or if you've got some type of commercial kitchen where you're producing specifically organic products. Because there is a guideline, a step-by-step process on actually processing the food, packaging the food, and even handling it and transporting it. It's very, very tedious. But again, organic certification comes in at number 9. Number 8, nursery stock license. So green-thumbed plant sellers, listen up. This license permits you to sell plants and nursery stock directly from your facility in farmers markets itself. So potentially this could be something like herbs or spices that could be natural ones. If it's not necessarily a packaged food product or a baked good under cottage food laws, a nursery stock license you may potentially need to have as well. Now, number 7, cottage food operations permit. So in the states where it's required, not every state, which is actually quite interesting, but not every state requires a permit for you to sell food from home at local farmers markets. But if you do, you're definitely going to need to have this one. So planning to sell home-cooked delights, if that is what you want to do, you might actually need this permit, allowing you to prepare certain foods in your home kitchen without inspections, but with a permit. So definitely take a look into that. Again, every city to city is quite different, and state to state it's also different. Now, keep in mind one thing, really quick side note. And by the way, if this information is helpful so far, do give us a big thumbs up. We do definitely appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We've got tons of great videos for farmers market vendors and food entrepreneurs just like yourself. You'll definitely find them in over 1,000 videos on our channel. Now, back to what I was saying about this, it's very important to make sure that you have to have your permit, because some cases, farmers markets locally that will actually require you to show proof that you've got those cottage food operation permits. So you may need to show that when you actually apply at the farmers markets. Number 6, certified producer's certificate. So a CPC, as it's known, if you're selling farm produce, Okay, a CPC may be required. This is actually a document usually issued by the county's agricultural commissioner. That would probably be Department of Agriculture, actually. Confirms that you've grown the produce yourself. You basically want to maintain a true, honest, what they call a spirit of the farmer's market, where you are the one developing and growing your produce on your property and then selling it. Believe it or not, there's a lot of shady and unfortunately bad farmers markets throughout the country where people are going and buying produce in bulk and simply reselling it, and then saying, they don't prove it, but they're actually saying that they're growing it on their property or they have a farm. And in many cases, they don't, which in some states it's actually illegal now. And if you get caught doing that, you can get a fine or simply get shut down. Number 5, a food handler's permit. So this permit also from the health department is required if you're handling, preparing, or even serving food. Now, in some cases, this crosses over into cottage food laws, where you might have the potential for the health department to step in because they might regulate it. Some states don't have any regulations about that, but if they do, it falls in the lap of the health department. It typically involves, of course, ensuring your knowledge of safe food practices and basically how to handle the food before you sell it. Number 4, health department permit. So selling edible goods, definitely something you want to look into, like baked goods, cookies, cakes, whatever it might be. You may need this permit as well. This is from the health department itself. Health departments ensure that vendors comply with local food safety regulations, keeping, of course, your customers safe because you have gone through the process and understood how to handle the food and how to package it and, of course, sell it. Next up, let me see where we're at. Number 3, so farmers market vendor permit. Now, this is specifically unto the farmers market where you're going. There's actually many farmers markets that require their vendors to obtain a farmers market permit specifically to that market. They can range anywhere from $75 up to a couple $100, believe it or not. Sometimes they'll actually not charge you a fee at all, but they'll charge you a percentage of what you're making that day that you're selling. This typically necessitates the application process where you must detail what you're selling and provide proof of any other required licenses, okay? Now, that's different. We got to keep in mind that's something that the farmers market itself, if I were the owner, for instance, I could kind of dictate what type of proof or requirements I would need for you to sell at my farmers market. And those are not necessarily laws per se, but it's run by the farmers market, the owner of it, and they can dictate whatever they need to have from you. So keep that in mind too. Number 2, sales tax permit. Now, this is potentially for people who are going to collect sales tax on the sale of food products within farmers markets. Now, as a vendor, you'll likely be required to collect sales tax. So the permit, often issued by your state's Department of Revenue, is actually what it's called, enables you to legally collect sales tax and then remit that to the state. And that's normally done either every year or every 6 months. Last but not least, the most important of all, whether you're running a multi-million-dollar business, which in some states there's no sales cap, from your home selling baked goods or not, you're going to need, number 1, a business license. Now, often this is the initial step. So this is probably one of the most important, and that's why we saved it for last. A business license, which is issued by your city or county, essentially permits you to operate the business within your city or county. And this basically ensures your application indicates that you're operating as a farmer's market vendor. Okay? Now, in most cases, when you get this type of business license, you'll have to specify exactly what you do. And if you are someone who is selling at farmers markets, that's something that'll have to be on the business license itself. So you definitely just want to keep that in mind as well. So those are the 10 potential, very, very important, but 10 potential permits and licenses as a farmer's market vendor. If you're selling a food product of some kind, you need to make sure you check into and have them, because in some cases, if you don't, you can get fined, you can get shut down, and in some extreme cases, I've even heard people having to serve time in jail because they're selling food from home, and that is pretty extreme, but it does happen. So if you've got any questions about starting a farmer's market business, or if you already are a vendor and you've run into some of these, let us know in the comment section down below. What was your experience with that, and how did it go, if it was successful, and what did it actually end up costing you too? That was one thing I didn't cover in this particular video, but I'll definitely dive in and do another video about how much all of these are costing on average, because of course they vary by state. And I'll see you guys on our next video. So how do I get more sales at a farmer's market? So if you are looking to start a home-based business or local food business and you want to sell through the avenue of farmers markets, they can be extremely profitable and make you quite a bit of money if you know how to do it. But I'm going to show you 6 ways that you can actually implement, very simple and very quick and easy ways that you can implement these ideas to make more money at farmers markets when you sell your food. We're going to dive into those 6 right now. All right, so welcome back to Marketing Food Online. In this video, I'm gonna run down 6 ways to increase your revenue and make it more profitable for you to sell at farmers markets. I'm gonna go from 6 all the way down to number one being the most important aspect that you should implement in your farmers market business. But before we do all this, definitely hit the subscribe button and the like bell and bell notification to check out all of our brand new videos we upload every single week. Now stay through this entire video because at the end of the video, I'm actually gonna give you 2 additional resources specifically for farmers markets. There's gonna be 2 additional videos I'm gonna show you at the end of this you need to check out that will help you also increase your revenue as well. So let's not waste any more time, let's dive right into it. So number 6, this is one that is a little tricky, but is a huge benefit when you begin to sell at farmers markets, more specifically selling food products. Now, the reason why I say it's a little tricky is you gotta make sure that your cottage food law allows this to actually work and allows you to do this. Because believe it or not, some states don't allow you to do this, one in particular. But number 6 is sample. Now, a lot of people may underestimate the idea of samples or may not even think about it. But when you start to sample a product, if you've got a dry rub, a spice blend, or barbecue sauce, a marinade, cookies, baked goods, whatever it may be, if you can give customers a small sample, a small portion of that product, you'll have much more success and likelihood of selling it if someone can actually taste it before they buy it than you would if you actually didn't. But the trick, as I mentioned before, is that some cottage food laws actually don't, and they prohibit samples. So you don't want to go to a farmer's market, of course, and get caught doing that. But offering samples are a great way for the customer to try it kind of before they buy it. Okay, but one thing you want to keep in mind is you don't want to make your samples too big, because remember that all of the items that you're making is costing you money to make. So if you're offering, let's say, if you're selling cakes, an entire cake, you don't want to give someone an entire slice of cake because you'll be going through your cakes very fast. You want to make it a small amount, but let them try it. You can do it in small cups, you can do it in small paper wraps, you can do it in any way that you feel free to do it, but you want to make it small enough so you're not going to give away more than you're actually going to sell. But a lot of people underestimate the power of samples when it comes to food products. Number 5, a lot of farmers market vendors don't take debit or credit cards. They want to get cash in hand for every transaction. Well, that can be a problem because today, many people use credit and or debit cards. You need to have this form of payment available for every customer that comes to your booth or comes to your farmer market stand. Debit cards are fast. Yes, I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Damien, but they charge a fee for that. Here's the thing. If you can appeal to an extra 100 customers in a day using a debit or credit card instead of cash, guess what? You sold an extra 100 additional customers your product. And if they come back next weekend and the weekend after that because they loved it so much and they love the convenience of having a credit or debit card, that is going to be more of a benefit for you, even if you have to pay a little bit of a fee to have that transaction. Don't sweat the fee. I mean, if it's like 30 cents, normally it's around 30 to 45 cents for a transaction with a debit or credit card. Actually, if you're paying more than that, you need to probably find a different processor. But here's the thing. If you're selling something for $5.99 and it costs you 35 cents to make the transaction, you know what? Go to $6.50. Go up and let the customer absorb that payment for you as opposed to you absorbing it. It's not a big deal. It's really not a lot of extra money, but it is a big deal when you offer these additional forms of payment. So number 4, this one is a little bit hard to understand at first. If you're new to the farmers market realm and you're kind of just testing it out and you're not very sure, but limit your options to what you offer. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, well, Damien, I've gone to farmers markets and I see, let's say, produce stands and they have a variety of That's different. If you're selling produce and you've got a farm and you're growing a lot of different things, that's one thing. If you're making a certain food product and you have 10 or 12 flavors, I honestly would not bring 10 or 12 flavors to a farmer's market. The more things that people have, you want to minimize your options because customers have a tendency to get overwhelmed a little bit. When you have dozens and dozens of, let's say, cookies or dozens and dozens of different varieties of trail mixes or granolas or whatever it is that you're making, if you're making seasoned nuts and you've got 20 of them on the table, it's a bit much sometimes. So if you minimize the options, the amount of things that people can choose from, there's a more likelihood that you're going to turn over more product and get more sales because people won't feel so overwhelmed. This is something that a lot of newbies and people who start off at farmers markets don't understand, and they flood their table, they flood their booth with all kinds of stuff, and it's a bit much. So take it down a notch a little bit. Don't allow yourself to put everything out on the table. You know, if you've got 12 varieties of something and you have a weekend coming up at the farmer's market, why don't you bring 5 or 6? And then the weekend following that, tell your customers who were there, say, hey, next weekend I've got 6 more flavors of my product. I've got 6 more variations of this. Do you want to come back next weekend? What that does is it brings back the customer again and again. If you open up everything on the table and they see what's there, and they come every other weekend to that same farmer's market, you kind of killed a little bit of surprise. You kind of eliminated some of that surprise element, right? So you don't want to overwhelm them. Minimize your options. Next up, you need to keep your booth and table organized at all times. I can attest, you want to make sure you're always organized. This says a lot about multiple things. Number one, it says a lot about you as a seller at the farmer's market when it's in disarray or people are picking through stuff and it's not organized. It's not kept neat and clean for the next customer to come over and buy it. Take pride in your booth. It shows and it reflects on how you run your business and the type of food products that you have. Plus, here's the thing. A lot of customers will interpret the quality of the food based upon how organized your booth is. And a lot of people will get turned away. I've actually been to numerous farmers markets, numerous flea markets, and tons of local events where people are selling products. I've seen some booths that were never kept organized and it looks kind of gross actually. But if you're selling a food product, it's ultra important that you maintain the neatness of your booth, and you will sell way more product when it's organized. If you've got a group of people, they come through your booth, they buy a bunch of products as you're kind of picking through things, then after they leave, go back to the front of your table, go to your booth, walk around it and make sure you clean it back up and keep it organized. Because first impressions for me, if I were to walk around the corner and see disarray and you're selling baked goods and food items, I'm gonna be eating that or giving that to my kids. I'm not gonna wanna buy that. So the neater it is, the more money you will make. Remember, I'm definitely giving you quick and easy ways to implement your more sales concept. And these are ways that will definitely bring in more business. So let's get to number 2. Pricing. Now, this is something that a lot of people will overprice products. And unfortunately, a lot of the products just sit there on their table and you don't sell it. You want to price your product to sell, okay? Price to sell. Here's what I mean by that. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, Damien, yeah, I have to mark it up a certain amount. I've got to make X amount of money, X amount. Yes, you do. But if you're at a farmer's market and there is a variation of what you're selling, or there's multiple booths that have very similar products to yours, and their price points are a little bit less or even a lot less, I'll guarantee you that you probably won't sell your product. You want to make sure that you always go by what's known as the 2.0 or 2.5 time markup. If you go and exceed that and you're going into, if a thing costs you $2 to make and you're selling it for 12 or 15, that's going to be something that's going to sit on your table forever. Do a little bit of digging around and finding out what exactly are the price points in that farmer's market or even the area for products similar to what you're selling. Because you may have an idea in your mind for a certain price point, but in reality and realistically, it may not sell because of that. Always take a look at what's around. Don't outprice yourself so you don't sell anything. It's a little tricky sometimes when you do that, but remember the things that are most important when factoring the price is packaging, labeling, and ingredients, okay? Also, a lot of people will tell you labor at first and all that, but to be honest with you, when you're a small business and you're at home, don't factor in so much the labor at first because you're probably the only one that's making the product and it's not too important just yet. If you start to scale your business and you begin to make a lot more money and you're hiring people and now it's costing you labor, it's costing you money, that's different. Make sure you price it to sell. Lastly, number 1, when you want to make more money at a farmer's market, I will guarantee you the booth that sticks out the most has an eye-catching, amazing, colorful, eye-grabbing signage, table, tent. There are companies out there who can create custom tents, believe it or not, custom tables, table wraps, tablecloths, and banners and signage. You need to stand out. And then the number 1 thing to make more money is having signage that's going to get people's attention. If you're just another booth with a table and a white cloth, boring. You need to stand out. You need to, obviously you can't probably use a loud voice amplifying machine or something and yell and scream at people that, hey, come check out my booth. A lot of people, you can't do that. So you have to do it visually. So you need to do that through signage. You need to do that through your tent. There's a lot of canopies and tents that can be customized with certain colors on the front and have the name of the brand of your company. You have a company and you have a name. If it's Damien's Chocolate Chip Cookies, that needs to be in some huge, bright, colorful letters because it's going to grab people's attention, especially on a bright, sunny day. The last thing that you want to do is just have a boring white tent with a white tablecloth and some cookies and a little sign on the table. I'm not going to do it. Make sure that your signage is what's calling people to your booth. And if you don't have that, well, look into it because it's only about, you can even get some of the signage for anywhere from less than $100 to a couple $100. But it's going to be an investment that's going to make you a lot more sales, a lot more money when it comes to your specific booth at the farmer's market. So how do I get more sales at farmer's market? These 6 ways are definitely ways that are very simple and easy and quickly to implement, and they should be bringing you much more money in sales and revenue. Now, check out these 2 videos here. I'll pop up a couple here on the side. Definitely check out these resources as well for farmer's market if you're looking to add additional resources to your plate and learn a little bit more about how you can make it successful and profitable. These are going to help you out big time. If you have questions or comments, let us know down below, and I'll see you guys on our next video. So if you are looking to get into a farmer's market and you had some questions about either allowing to prepare the food on the premises or if you have to actually bring it already made, I'm going to get into how exactly and why they set up those types of rules and regulations. And it's really dependent upon where you're going and the laws that are set up by the farmer's market itself and the state. So one of the trickiest things that you may have to do is that you'll have to prepare the food in some type of commercial kitchen and then bring that into the farmer's market. Now, why would that be? Why can't you just cook it there, bring some type of a food cart? Well, you have to understand that farmer's markets vary. The types of rules and regulations set up by the farmer's market can be in addition to the state, city, or the county's regulations or ordinances that they may set up. Now, many food vendors that go to farmers markets are not really allowed to and don't prepare the food right there on the premises because of the fact that those are rules set up by the farmers market itself. It also has issues with zoning. It has issues with the ordinances and such that in the certain cities and counties, there are some farmers markets that may allow it, but then the others may not. It's kind of also a safety issue in regards to some food vendors that have to bring propane tanks or large barbecue grills or open flames. They don't allow those in farmers markets in most cases, specifically for safety reasons. Now, what do you do if you are actually in a position to prepare the food and then you want to cook it there? You want to cook it while the smells and all of the great things are going on, where you've got a lot of people loving to watch you cook. They like to enjoy cooking, and then they also can smell the food. That would generate a lot more interest in what you're doing, as well as so you want to sell your food at a farmer's market, but you're trying to debate on whether you're allowed to cook the product there or do you have to bring it. So let me explain some of the different variations on how farmers markets work. Number one, there's state regulations that are set up in regards to farmers markets that are done by the state, and then there's ordinances and laws by counties and cities. So as it kind of trickles down to the local municipalities, they can actually create different rules as well. Now, the other factor to consider is the farmer's market itself. Farmers markets have the ability to regulate how they allow food vendors to come in, what they can sell, and how they can prepare the food in regards to then selling it to their customers. For the most part, there's a lot of farmers markets that don't allow food preparation on the premises unless you've got a food truck or a food cart. And of course, even at that, there's additional laws and there's additional licenses and permits that you would need. It's really for 2 reasons. One of the main reasons is for safety in regards to having open flames or propane tanks and any type of gas that you're using to cook with, even charcoal if it's an open type of tank. You have to be aware that there's a safety issue involved with that, and most farmers markets don't want to take that responsibility in regards to the insurance and liability on their shoulders. Farmers markets do have insurance policies for what goes on in the farmers markets, but if you're selling and preparing food, then you as a business need to have your own insurance for that as well. So the question I was getting into for one of my subscribers was that he does a lot of catering, but he was looking to prepare the food, which generates that smell and kind of has something that's kind of entertaining. A lot of people enjoy to watch people cook. But he can't do any of that at the farmers markets he attends, so it's kind of hard to sell a hot or cold item when it's packaged and pre-packaged and pre-prepared in a sense, and then brought to the event, which is understandable. Now, what I would recommend you do is to kind of allow yourself to expand on your menu, and I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. Expand on the menu and create products or create food products that you can actually make and prepare and follow the guidelines of the farmers markets where they're wanting you to bring a product that's already prepackaged. A lot of times states and even local counties set up laws where the food has to be prepared separately at another venue and then packaged and brought to a farmers market and then sold. So you're not allowed to do a lot of food preparation like actually at the event itself physically. There's some food safety issues, and that is the reason why most of the time they ask that you put those foods in containers and packaging and then bring it to the event. Now, back to what I was saying, expanding on your menu by creating products that you can go to these farmers markets where they're not going to allow you to actually cook there, but it still opens up the opportunity for your business to continue to generate cash flow and generate sales, is by figuring out what it is that you can bring and the things that you can make and that you enjoy making. Prepare those, go to the farmers markets where you can't necessarily cook there, but you can still generate a buzz about your food product and you can sell it and begin, again, consistently have cash flow to generate more of your business. And then you would continue to do your catering or to continue to go to other farmers markets or even different events that they don't have to necessarily be farmers markets, but they could actually be art festivals, music festivals, any type of festival where you can prepare the food there. And then that way you kind of get the best of both worlds by continually having cash flow and generating a business that's making money at farmers markets, and then go to the events where you can actually cook the food and then again continue to generate cash flow. So it might be an option that you can look into by not limiting yourself solely upon the farmers market sales, or even limiting yourself to the events where you have to cook and you're allowed to cook on the premises. You can do both. And then it can also be a seasonality thing where you've got from January to December, you've got constant events and you've got constant money coming in the door. So you don't limit yourself to just the events where you have to cook or you want to cook on the premises. So keep that in mind. It's a great way to constantly have a cash flow. And the other thing that's great is that you can expand your business if you do catering. And let's say you go to a farmer's market and you've got products that are packaged and you've made them at a separate venue and you've brought them to the farmer's market. You could generate even additional catering exposure for your catering business and let the customers know that, hey, I also do catering events as well. So you can interact with customers, you can generate a constant flow of money, and you have the opportunity to get more people for the catering side of your business. So that is a great way to not limit yourself and allow yourself an opportunity to continue to generate money. So I hope that answers the question and helps you out. And keep in mind that you are never limited by what you can and can't do at farmers markets or catering or different events. You kind of have to adapt yourself and your menu to the type of event, and then that way you'll never limit yourself. Okay? I hope that helps. If it does, as always, please do give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys on our next video. What is the most profitable things to sell at a farmer's market? So in this podcast, which we will definitely upload onto our YouTube channel for all of our YouTube subscribers, this podcast, we're going to dive into that specific question and the 5 most profitable foods and why they're the most profitable foods. And if you're looking to create a food business and you don't have a lot of money to invest in a big commercial kitchen or to build out some big facility, starting at home is the best thing to do. Even if it's a side hustle, if you're looking to create some additional revenue on the side, home-based food businesses right now are one of the hottest and most profitable ways to start any business. Reason being is that you already have everything you need, and under cottage food laws, you don't have to build out some amazing commercial kitchen. You don't have to build out a whole bunch of another facility. You can actually start with what you have. So I had this question actually on our other channel, Marketing Food Online 2, which will have a link down below in the descriptions for that other channel. But in our other channel, a gentleman that actually asked us about this because him and his wife were looking to start a farmer's market vendor's booth, but they wanted to know what was the most profitable thing. They wanted to see what had the biggest margin. So we delved into and dug into some statistics and some data. We went online and we actually found out some of the most inexpensive products to either buy and then repackage and just sell, or products that you can actually make at home. So welcome to Marketing Food Online. It's Damian Roberti, founder and CEO of Marketing Food Online. I'm a food entrepreneur, and I love to give you guys, the food entrepreneurs, tips and tricks on how to start food businesses no matter what you want to sell. If you have a question about your food business, let me know in the comments, because I like to create videos about you guys' questions and create some fantastic information to help you guys out. Now, really quick too, we have our brand new a memberships platform set up here on YouTube. If you look down below this video, there's a little button that says join. There's 3 different tiers, and based upon which tier that you get, members only, there's actually a membership section within our channel too, but members only will get additional perks and other benefits because you've signed up for that. Also, all of those monies, those funds, and those fees that we charge for those different tiers help us continue to create video content, other resources, and then put out even more content that we have set up and in line to do. So it does cost quite a bit of money to edit and create these videos. It's definitely something that a lot of times people don't realize it, but all of our videos are free, but it does cost us to actually upload and do them. So any additional memberships that you guys helping us out, it's a twofold, because we can help you out even more and get your questions answered and create content around what you guys really need. So definitely check out our membership section. So let's get into this. So what is the most profitable thing to sell at the farmer's market? Number 5, trail mixes. And particularly right now, the beginning of spring in 2022, trail mixes, because a lot of people are out and doing hiking, they're doing a lot of outdoor events finally, compared to what we were doing in 2019. But things are opening up. A lot of people are doing a lot of activities. Trail mixes are great for multiple reasons. They can be loaded with proteins, they can give you energy, plus they're easy to put in a bag. If you've got a couple of kids and you're going to a soccer tournament, or you're going to a trail and doing some hiking or bike riding, trail mixes are hugely popular. The marketplace will never be filled enough with trail mixes. Now, the average per pound bag cost to either make or buy it pre-made and break it down. And by the way, I'll even help you out even further. If you check out the link down below, it'll take you to our website where I've got a list of all of the things I'm about to tell you about, these 5 items. You can actually buy almost all of them except for one. All of them, pre-buy them in big bulk and break them down and put your own label on it and sell it. Okay? Now, of course, there's a lot of labeling things and stuff, but I'll get into that in another video. But the trail mixes, the average cost per pound is $3.99. We actually have a trail mix on Amazon that we charge $17.99 a pound. And there's about a $14 profit margin on that individual pound. $3.99 it costs to make the average trail mix. Of course, you have some on the higher end that have mixed nuts and cashews and maybe even macadamia nuts with dried fruits. Those are a little more expensive, and you have some on the lower end. But the average median price for 1 pound, $3.99, and you could retail that at farmers markets for $15.99. Now, in a minute, I'm sure you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Damian, some of these prices for the retail sound crazy. Nobody's going to pay that much. Yes, they will, and I'll tell you exactly why they will. Number 4, nuts. Average price per pound. Now, of course, everybody knows nuts vary based on pistachios, if it's cashews, if it's a mixed nut. But you can actually buy these in bulk again, and I'll have the listing down below to show you the website you can do this on. You can actually get them in 40, 50-pound boxes, scoop them out, put them in a 1 pound bag, label them, seal them, and sell them. The average cost for 1 pound of nuts is around $6.99 a pound cost. Some of them, like I said before, some are going to be higher, some will be lower, but $6.99. And the average retail price for a pound is $14.99 to $15.99. That's roughly almost about $10 a pound profit, okay? And number 3, one of the most profitable things, and you'd have to make these. This was the one I mentioned in the beginning, and I said, well, there's one item that you can't necessarily buy pre-made, but baked goods. Now, when it comes to baked goods, I'm talking about muffins, I'm talking about cookies, I'm talking about scones, I'm talking about biscottis, even energy bars. These are all also allowed under cottage food laws. Cottage food laws allow you to create certain types of non-potentially hazardous food products. Every single state has some type of statute on the books about cottage food laws and what you can make and what you can't make. Now, baked goods are something that are always popular, super inexpensive to make, easy to package too. By the way, these 5 particular items, I also put them on our list because of how easy it is to package them and to merchandise them and sell them. Some products, if you're talking about salsas, you got a pH level. If you're talking about like ketchups or condiments or pickles, a lot of cottage food laws don't allow you to do pickling because of the pH and because if it's not pickled properly. These are very simple, easy to package, easy to make, and easy to sell. That's the reason why I put them on our top 5 list. So baked goods is one of them. And I'm telling you, anything you can come up with, if you can bake a chocolate chip cookie, then you can come up with 100 variations. We actually have over 47 or 48 different cookies on our website that we sell online because we just have a huge variety, like blueberry white chocolate, cranberry almond, all kinds of stuff that you can put into cookies. Make them unique. Make it stick out. Make it stand out. Package it very simple, very easy, inexpensively too. The average cost, and I'm going to throw this out there. Of course, baked goods are different. If you're making a bundt cake, it's different than obviously a muffin and cookies. But the average set of 2 dozen cookies on average costs either $2.85 or less. There's a 2 dozen cookie that we make that costs us just under $2. 2 dozen. I charge $26.99 on Amazon for them. Okay. Now, Damien, what can I charge for those baked goods at a farmer's market though? Anywhere from $19 to $22. And if you don't believe me, in a moment I'm going to explain why these amounts actually exist and why those price points are there. Number 2 on our list of top 5 most profitable items to sell at farmers market is popcorn, but not just popcorn. You need to have a variety of popcorn seasonings and allow your customer to customize the flavor of the popcorn. If you bake up just regular traditional popcorn, you scoop it out nice and fresh and hot. Of course, you're going to have to invest a little bit in a popcorn maker, but they're not very expensive. I've seen them even on Amazon or a restaurant for around $300 to $400, and that's not a lot to invest in a food business. But popcorn in general, when you buy it in bulk too, and by the way, I'll even have a list of websites too that you can check out that sell popcorn in bulk. You can get a pound of kernels for around $1, which is an unheard of. When you pop it, it creates a ton of popcorn. But popcorn kernels are very cheap. Create it, but you allow your customer to customize the flavor. That's what's going to set your popcorn apart. Everybody on the planet that goes to a farmer's market, a festival, a local event, loves popcorn. But the great thing is kids eat popcorn, adults eat popcorn, senior citizens eat popcorn, teenagers love it. Everybody loves popcorn, okay? That's why it's number 2 on our list, because it's cheap to make. It's easy to package, by the way. You simply get yourself one of those disposable popcorn bags, open it up, scoop it out, let the customer put the seasoning on it, and that customizes it, and it gives them an incentive to eat your popcorn instead of just regular old salt and salt and butter, and just the plain traditional flavors. Spruce it up, give it something unique. And the website you're going to check out on my website that I've got that'll link you over to show you, they have over 40 to 50 different popcorn seasonings. You can package them, put them in a container, let them shake it on, and they'll come back for more and more, okay? Now, the average cost of a serving of popcorn when it's popped, you got a bag, you've got seasonings, etc., is around $1.10. And believe it or not, the bag that you're going to sell them, you can get anywhere from $5 to $6 for a jumbo bag of popcorn. That includes the seasoning that they can customize it with. All right, and in a moment, like I said, I'll explain why these amounts exist, and people will pay it. Number 1, most profitable product, and you can buy this pre-made. And again, I'll have a website link for this as well. All of these items that I'm telling you, except for the baked goods, I have a link for you to go and you can check out for yourself, and you can see how much these cost. Spices, yes. I actually went to a local farmer's market here, actually. I believe it was last year, near the end of last year. I think it was in the fall. There was a guy who him and his son started they had a spice tent, but they served it as a spice blend mix. It was a dipping mix that you actually put it in sour cream. They had like 4 or 5 dozen different flavors. They were all over the place with these huge spices. The guy was charging $11 a bag, believe it or not. My retail is around 7 to 10. The average 4 ounce to 8 ounces of spices, of course they vary too. All of these have different ranges, but the average between 4 to 8 ounces cost only $2. These guys were selling this 4-ounce bag with a little clip on the top for $11, and they had people lined up. The way that they sold it though is that they had their tent with their sour cream already made with their seasoning blended up, and they were letting people dip like little chips and crackers and try it. And they were buying 2 and 3 packages at a time. You're talking about $20, $30 worth per transaction of spice mixes, these blends for this dip. It was astonishing. I was blown away. So spices is the number 1. Now, let me wrap this video up really quick and explain to you why these prices are. You're thinking, oh, popcorn, nobody's going to pay $5 or $6 a bag. Yes, they will. Here's why. Number 1, people love to support local food businesses especially today after what we went through in 2019. A lot of people, if you're in a small family food business, people love to support small family food businesses. But when they go to local events, they're out for the day. They're out to have a good time. They're willing to spend money. I can tell you the one that I went to here was actually a wine festival. I took my wife, and we had a couple of our friends go with us, and my son came to hang out with us. But the wine festival, people were doing wine tasting. They were dropping $30, $40 just for sampling of wine. And then they were buying stuff that people had set up in tents and foods and snacks. People will spend at farmers markets, and they will support you, the local food business, the local family business that just got up and running, and they're selling and just trying to make ends meet and get some people out there to try your product. They will spend this kind of money because they love to support your business. Okay. And the other thing is that when you create these gourmet batches of food products locally made from your home, micro batches, as they're called, micro batch, small batch food products, people love the uniqueness of it, the packaging, the story behind it. If your family is selling a product, one of the biggest selling incentives when you're starting out from home and you're doing the farmers markets, you're doing the festivals, is your story. Make sure people know the story. If someone comes up to your tent and they try something, say, hey, let me tell you how I started this business. They love stories. People love stories. And if you let them know that, they're willing to part with $10, $12 for a bag of spices. They're willing to part with $5 or $6 for a gourmet bag of popcorn that has some type of bacon cheddar seasoning on it. That's just out of the ordinary, okay? All of these things lend themselves to your customers paying more, and you will make more money. And they're willing to do it. I've seen it at festivals and farmers markets here locally. I always see people just lined up. We even spend them ourselves. This one guy had that spice, but $11 for 4 ounces of spices. It costs around $2. So if you sell 100 bags, even 200, 300 bags of spices in a weekend at an event, you're talking about several $1,000s. So if you're looking for a side hustle, you want to start a food business, but you're not obviously going to go open a restaurant tomorrow. Maybe you're not going to buy a $100,000 food truck, and maybe you're not going to open up a commercial facility that's going to cost you $200,000 just to process food. You want to start small, do it at home. There's so many different foods that you're allowed to make. Take advantage of it. So with that being said, what are the most profitable food items to sell at farmers markets? Those are 5. And if you have questions about those 5s, let us know down below. And of course, remember, check out our memberships program and hit that join button. Join button and actually will take you over to a video and explain more about what we offer through the memberships. I'll see you guys on our next video. All right, so if you're looking to start selling food at a farmer's market, one of the biggest questions we're going to answer here on this podcast is how much does it cost to sell food at a farmer's market? And is selling at farmers markets actually profitable? So these are some great questions because almost 70 to 80% of all food businesses start from home, but they're under the cottage food law and they allow you to actually sell food at farmers markets. But one of the tricky things is farmers markets dictate to their customers, their clients and their sellers exactly what they are going to do and charge in regards to how much it costs to actually sell there. So my name is Damian Roberti. Welcome to Marketing Food Online podcast. And in this podcast, we are going to also upload this onto YouTube to all of our fantastic subscribers that we have on YouTube. And also, thank you so much. We've surpassed 50,000 downloads of our podcast since we've started. Thank you guys so much for the help. Now, down in the description, we'll have a ton of other resources. Also, our website has a bunch of free resources. There's also a ton of other links to our podcasts on the different platforms. So let's dive into this question because the thing of it is that selling food is, of course, tricky to begin with to try to make it profitable. But how much of the farmer's market is actually going to take from that profit margin and how much are they going to charge you? So every single farmer's market, as I opened up in the beginning, I said they basically can dictate, they can create their own rules. Now, for the most part, the 5 ways I'm about to tell you are pretty much the only 5 ways that farmers markets will charge you in order for you to actually sell there. Keep in mind, before you go to a farmer's market and open a booth, pay money and all that good stuff, you need to understand, go there a few times on the weekend, see how busy and how much traffic it really gets. You want to try to find farmers markets in your area that have a really good amount of foot traffic. Okay, and now, of course, with 2020 and everything that went down last year, you want to make sure that you have the opportunity to know for sure that it's going to be profitable because of the foot traffic. Now, little by little, everything is opening back up, which is obviously a good thing. But make sure you get a farmer's market spot that's going to be really, really busy or have considerable amount of foot traffic. That's going to increase your odds of being successful and, of course, being profitable as well. So, number 1, how much does it cost to sell at a farmer's market? Number 1 is the flat fee. Many farmers markets actually utilize this very simple way. They're going to charge you a flat fee. Hey, Damien, you want to open up a booth? Great. Well, it's going to be, for the whole weekend, it's a $100 fee, and that allows you to sell on Saturday and Sunday the whole weekend. Or it's a flat fee of $50 or $75. I have noticed the farmers markets that I used to sell at, we were probably, I think, $25 and $30 and $40, I think, was the range. I didn't see them go any much above $50. But, of course, it depends. If it's a gigantic farmers market, they may have a prime spot and they're going to charge you $100, maybe even more. Keep that in mind. So the idea of selling there is going to be that obviously if you put out a certain amount of money just to get in as a flat fee, you have to recoup that in your sales, okay? Number 2 is a percentage. Some farmers markets don't charge a flat fee. They just want a percentage of the sales. And normally it's pretty small, to be honest with you. It's 2 to 3%. I've even seen some as high as 5%. So they say, hey, you know what, Saturday at the end of the day, you have to be here when we open, and when we close, you shut your store down. Based on your sales, they take 3% of it, 5% of it, whatever it may be. But percentage is a way, when you ask the question, how much does it cost to sell at a farmer's market? That's another form of payment and another way of they charge you, percentage of your sales. Now, number 3, they'll charge you a smaller fee up front and then a percentage of the sales too. So it's almost a combination of the first and second one. But normally that small fee, there's normally like an application fee, it's like $20 or $30. And then what they're going to do is say, hey, by the end of this weekend, we take 2%, 3% of what you sell. That's actually not bad because the fees are much smaller in that way, because both sides are going to be a lot less than just a flat fee of up to $100 or something to that effect. So number 3 is small fee and a percentage of your actual sales. Now, number 4 is unique. The reason why I say this is that some farmers markets will require you to be there for a week at a time, okay? What I mean by that is, yes, believe it or not, farmers markets operate too on Mondays through Fridays and even the weekends. So they're going to say, look, I'm going to charge you a fee. It's called a weekly fee, and you're going to be here from Monday to Sunday, whatever it may be. You can sign it 1 week, 2 weeks. You can sign up for 3 weeks. But some farmers markets will do this based upon the entire week. Just whether you show up or not, you have to pay a flat fee, but it's a weekly fee, okay? So keep this one in mind. This one's really kind of unique, and it can be challenging because during the week, a lot of times, of course, traffic for farmers markets is still there, but it's not as busy. So you might have the potential of not selling as much as you may think. And if you're going to be charged a weekly fee, you're kind of already investing in that entire week, whether you show up or not and whether you make enough money. So be really cautious about the weekly fee when it comes to farmers markets and fees. So to dive into the second question really quick, to touch on it before I get to the 5th and final one. So is selling at farmers markets profitable? Yes, it can be considerably. Measure out a few of the things I've been saying. First off, go there. You want to make sure that you check it out first. If there's a lot of foot traffic, awesome. You'll have a better chance of obviously succeeding and selling more of your product, okay? So also keep in mind, you don't want to overprice your products. If you know exactly what you're packaging, your ingredients, your label, your labor, all of that costs, and you've got a good price point, be within reason. I have been to farmers markets. People are selling bundt cakes and loaves of bread and different types of things, really considerably inflated prices, and there's not a lot of people buying, okay? Now, the idea of having a gourmet product or handmade or artisan, whatever you want to call it, is a good thing. But remember, keep your prices within reason, because a lot of the stuff you make, people can get at grocery stores. The whole idea of you going to a farmer's market is to make a unique product, a unique packaging, but don't make it so unique that the price point is in the stratosphere, because nobody's going to buy it. So in order to make it profitable at farmers markets, you want to also be sure your prices are within reason. Okay, it's good to mark them up. It's good to make an extra premium on it. Make sure that you study the price points. Don't charge like $12 or $14 or $15 for a bundt cake if it's a miniature bundt cake or a 3-pack of bundt cake. Now it's different if you've got a gourmet cake, or you've got a big pack of croissants, or you've got something really gourmet-like, and if you're selling 10 or 15 or 12 units, that's different. Of course, your price point needs to reflect that. But don't start charging ridiculous prices for products that people can turn away from and go pick up at the grocery store, okay? So, yes, it can be considerably profitable. The longer that you're there, if you're there from when they open to when they close, and you're there for a longer duration, don't just do Saturday and Sunday and think you're going to make money. You got to be there maybe the whole month, each Saturday and Sunday, back and forth for the entire month, okay? Number 5, the next way that they actually charge you a farmer's market is a flat booth fee. Damien, what's a booth fee? So a booth fee can be basically the cost based on the size of a booth. Farmers markets want to maximize the amount of space they have, right? So basically it's a big piece of land, maybe with a big tent or it's indoors, but they want to maximize the space. If you're only going to take up if you're going to create a tent or you have a table that's 10 foot by 10 foot, they're going to charge you based on that size. If you need much more than that and you're 24 feet by 24 feet and it's this huge thing, they're going to charge you based on the size of the booth. So they don't want any of your percentage. They're not going to charge you a flat fee. They're going to say, look, you want a booth? Here's 3 different sizes. What size booth are you wanting? That is going to dictate the fee when you sell at a farmer's market. So keep in mind that selling based on a booth size can be also tricky, because the bigger you think you're going to get, you have a lot of stuff and you're going to get this gigantic space. It may end up eating your profit big time. So a booth fee is number 5, different way that they actually charge you and what it costs to sell at a farmer's market. So these are the different ways you to think about. Definitely know these things in advance. Go there and ask questions, obviously the general manager, whoever is running the farmer's market, so you understand the pricing, okay? Because you're going to be asked, hey, how much does it cost to sell at a farmer's market? And I've got 3 different price points, but I'm not sure what's more profitable. Should I do this, this, or this? Just know it at first, sit down, go home, figure out what would make sense for you, and then move forward, okay? So if you have any more questions on how much does it cost to sell food at a farmer's market, let us know in the comments. And of course, as always, if you have any other questions, let us know. We'll try to get to them as quick as possible.